You know, despite of what I'm about to say and what I have said in previous videos that I have posted recently, I truly did want Bioware to succeed and to have a strong year, partly because we have been expecting a new Mass Effect games for a while now, and we have heard rumors, we have heard a lot of things that it was in development, that there are plans to bring it back to tell us a new story, to have something new in that particular franchise. I also wanted for Dragon Age the Veilguard to succeed, to be a strong continuation to everything that we have seen until now. But I guess none of that didn't happen. And it's especially true for Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, I've talked about how it's looking to be a flop and how it's not going to bring even half of what it needs to even break even. And I've said that 3 or 4 videos ago, when a lot of the other content creators were still thinking that it will not do good, but it will not crash. And I hate to say it, but I think I was the one who was right. And we now have what seems to be much more concrete evidence from what we had when I was making the videos a few days ago, and that evidence seems to support everything that I have said until this point. And let me show you what I mean. Now, Grumps retweeted Endymion and quoted him from his latest video, which I do urge you to go and see, because Endymion goes really deep into explaining some stuff. But the information that we get regarding Dragon Age Veilguard is that the numbers seems to be even worse than the majority of even the bigger critics thought. What you're seeing here is basically the numbers that were pulled from allegedly Bioware insiders providing additional information. Hardly 75,000 in pre-orders, less than 500,000 copies sold, and 30,000 refunds are the current approximate numbers for a game that is widely believed to be between 150 and 250 million dollars in production. Now, I do think that what we're seeing as numbers here are catered only to Steam, because as I explained in the previous video, there are other numbers for the PlayStation in particular, which were posted by Jay Viper, if you remember, and if you have watched the video, that approximately 220,000 copies were sold there. So I do believe that this is only for Steam, which ironically is the biggest selling platform for day one games, which Dragon Age the Veilguard is. Now, these numbers, the less than 500,000 copies, is a little bit tricky because Gamealytics is constantly updating and it does show a little bit of a higher number. Now, keep in mind that the notification that this game released recently, so the numbers might not be correct, that was posted here in the first 3 days is now gone. So we do have around, in my opinion, an 80 to 90% accurate information, and you can basically track what is being said here. So the owners and player total are the same number, 603,000, which is also the copies sold. And what I think is happening is that the copies sold are basically every single copy that has gone out to gamers and etc., with the inclusion of free copies as well, in my opinion. The thing is that if we take this number, or even better, if we take the high number and once again add the numbers from PlayStation and add the numbers from other consoles as well and other platforms, which just for the sake of argument will count them as the same as the PlayStation numbers, we still don't get anything close to the supposed budgets that we need to have. And I'm reminding you that this is between 150 to 250 million dollars. And why is that the budget that everybody's clinging to? Well, basically because the game is from Bioware, and these games, the Dragon Age games, usually tend to be in that production cost range. From what I've read online is that Dragon Age Inquisition was a little bit above $150 million, and that was several years ago. So it is safe to assume that this is the approximate budget. Something different, however, from what I'm saying now is that before I was trying to give the game a lot of leeway and a lot of boosting by not counting any percentage of refunds and anything at all. I was basically trying to give it the best chance it has to at least have the money that it needs to just even break even, because if we take the low budget of 150 million, you need to add half that budget into marketing, which is pretty common for every big budget game to have such a marketing budget. So we are above 200 million in every sense of the word. But now with the refunds and the massive tradings that I've seen in other videos that are being reported, you're getting the lower and lower numbers for profits that anyone could have imagined. And I know that some people are still saying, yeah, but you still need to wait by the end of the year to see the profits and etc, etc. Yeah, but for a AAA game to be considered successful, it needs to take the attention of people and take the money that it needs in at worst the first 2 weeks. That's what it needs in order to be considered successful, because you do have the budget that you need to calculate. You have income that you need to report and etc. You do make back the money, but it's an investment that is no longer viable because it's such a long-term financial investment. They need to make the money right now in order to use them either for the next game or for another project. That's how it works. That's how you continue to drive the company. And that's how you continue to drive the next product down the line. And it's really sad because on one hand, I was, as I mentioned, very eager to have Bioware succeed and to basically just not fall into that abhorrent wave that is now sweeping the gaming industry when it comes to DEI-infused games and woke stories, and to just continue doing what it was doing best way before a lot of other games. Tell good stories, even inclusive stories, but do it smart and do it in a way that everyone can enjoy. Like with the Mass Effect trilogy. I don't know how many times I will have to say this, but the Mass Effect trilogy had one of the best and most inclusive storylines of its time. It had non-binary characters, it had gay characters, it had gay romances, it had struggles with one's identity. It had a lot of stuff that are currently being pushed down our throats, but they were done very, very smartly and were done in a way that nobody got offended by them, or at least a very, very few people got offended by them just because they weren't used to that kind of game before. I have mentioned so many times in the past week that Dragon Age Veilguard is not a game, in my opinion. It's a propaganda piece filled with gaming elements, and I actually compare it to a soft gambling experience on some of the websites where you play a pseudo game just to take your mind off from the fact that you're actually just throwing away money on a game of chance. This is kind of the same experience. You have something that resembles a game, but you're just sitting comfortably in class to be educated about transgender people and the non-binaries and the woke ideology and all of that. And you get to kill a few months to satisfy your gaming needs in the process. That's basically what the game is. It's so shallow that you can just feel that it was just an obligatory release by Bioware and it wasn't anything that they actually hoped to develop even further. And the absence of DLCs and expansions that they announced a few days ago is a telltale sign of that. But the worst thing that this whole thing produced is that yesterday, on November 7 and 7 day, Bioware was almost entirely silent about the celebration. N7 Day, for someone who might not know, is celebrating the Mass Effect games by having the N7 symbol with the N designating the special forces and the 7 rank that is the highest level of proficiency in those forces. And that is something that the main character, Commander Shepard, wears. That's the base uniform because he's part of that special unit, and that was celebrated throughout the years, every year, by a lot of people. But this year we had something very, very weird in my opinion. We had this, and I'm gonna read it to you. Hi everyone! November 7 has arrived once again, and as always, we're grateful for the opportunity to celebrate all things Mass Effect. This year is a little different. as we just launched Dragon Age the Veilguard as a studio, so we're purposely keeping things lighter as we celebrate the launch of the game. If you were confident and if you knew that the game was a success as you were boasting and that you're celebrating it, wouldn't that give you even greater incentive to strike double and just go all out with the announcement, let's say, of a new Mass Effect game or with something, and just not be quiet and just be very vocal about it and just have a huge celebration? It doesn't make sense that you're going to be a little bit lighter and a little bit quieter on everything, because the game release, we're gonna let you enjoy and we're just gonna pass over this celebration that you have all gathered for every year since the release of the game. It's okay, it's fine, this is fine, you know, we're doing fine. And it continues. Speaking of which, you may notice a small treat from the Mass Effect team in Dragon Age the Veilguard if you check out a new chest inside the lighthouse. Oh yeah, so basically this is a desperate attempt to just tell people, buy the game and you see something that you enjoy from Mass Effect and you can have it in the game that the majority of people hates. But yeah, it's worth it to just get that little thing, to pay $60 to grab that. There's some cool new merch in our Bioware store, and we have partnered with No Man's Sky and Destiny 2 to bring back a couple of cross promos in those games. Be sure to check our local channels for all the details. Although we're a little quieter this year, we couldn't be more excited for what's to come. And once again, even though we're a little bit quiet, it's like you're doubling down and just trying to convince people that everything is fine, that nothing bad has happened, despite everything telling the people that Dragon Age Veilguard is a huge flop and it is bleeding you out of your money. And this is basically you saying, we're fine, we just don't want you to worry, while at the same time in your boardrooms, in your own companies, there are regrettably and most likely layoffs coming and downsizing, that's a good HR talk, and firing of people coming up on a massive scale because of the failure of Dragon Age the Veilguard. And having had so many people, including myself, waiting for the official announcement or teaser trailer or something for the next Mass Effect games, and you're just brushing it away with the small addition that apparently an Amazon produced TV series is officially in development. There is nothing else, and just this by itself, produced by Amazon, taking a well-beloved IP under their wing and being developed by Amazon, after what they did to the Lord of the Rings by creating the absolute horrible, vile, putrid waste that is the Rings of Power, you do not spark any joy or any confidence in people. You know what this looks like to me? This looks like to me that the company is going down in flames and they're just trying to save face and just minimize the external information about the damage that is going to occur. And this probably would have worked 5 or 10 years ago. However, currently, with the way a lot of the creators have insiders and have information that they can gather and they can get to, you won't be able to keep any of this under wraps. And what Bioware is just presenting on the official N7 day and just basically being absolutely quiet about it is just another telltale sign that things are not okay. Dragon Age the Veilguard was a huge flop, and I think it dealt a mortal blow to Bioware's finances and Bioware's ability to continue running as a company. It might not have impacted EA as a whole. However, as a studio, Bioware is currently on its death rolls, in my opinion, because in any other situation, if you release a game that is successful and the official celebration of a beloved game that you have released prior to that, which has to this day made a huge impact on the gaming world, this would have caused for a massive celebration and just doubling down. It would have been like that. Oh, you're enjoying our new game, here is something else that we want to show you, and just drop a teaser trailer and just drop something that will hype people up even more. But no, people are currently angry with Bioware, they don't trust Bioware, and they know it. The owners know it, the public speakers know it, everyone at Bioware knows it, and that's why they're being extremely careful and extremely quiet, just to be able to save some face and possibly be able to swim ashore after that ship has sunk. I don't know what's going to happen to Bioware in the future. I do hope in my heart that they will manage to pull through, they'll get their shit together, they'll get rid of all the DEI and woke slop that they have consumed and have let into their company, and just cleanse themselves of this absolute putrid pile of waste in human form that is just infecting their games and telling their own pathetic, unoriginal and uninspiring trans stories, and just putting them into what was once a beloved game franchise, and just return to what they were absolutely famous for, making a very, very enjoyable gaming experience with the next Mass Effect, with even a next Dragon Age, if they manage to turn themselves around. You have probably seen the tweets, you have probably seen the massive layoffs on every level, the removal of DEI departments in a lot of companies. You have probably seen the news that Alyssa Mercante is no longer working at Kotaku. You have probably even seen that Sweet Baby Inc. and the Powell Group, that are actually one and the same almost, are under fire and they're trying to hide themselves. So things are turning around. And if Bioware can open their eyes in time, I do hope in my heart that they do, and they swim and they regain the public's trust. Because if we have to be honest, whatever they are now, they once were one of the best gaming studios of all time, and they produced amazing things. And I do believe that this can happen again. I do believe that for every studio that is currently infected with the diversity, equity and inclusion virus. And I hope that they get rid of it soon, and that we can have a new and better age for gaming and for entertainment as a whole. Hope remains, but we'll see. We'll just have to see and report and stay vigilant on every level. Anyways, this is what I have for this video today. Thank you for sticking around for so long if you did. If you enjoyed this video, click the like and subscribe button, and also click the join button if you want to receive special perk by becoming a member and part of the DiscussThing army. Also, if you want to be a part of the team that helps me and my significant other in helping homeless animals and animals in shelters, to feed them, house them, help them in any way we can, visit my Patreon that is in the links in the description below. Follow me on my socials as well to see what I write and post all day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. I have been Helzo. This was DiscussThing. Cheers and stay fresh.